Hey guys, I welcome you all to episode number 2, Creating Art for a Better World. Over the span of past 15 months, all of us have went through a phase that we never thought we would. We have lost people who were close to us, who we dearly loved, who sheltered us, who have made us who we are today. And yet, we have to lead on the life without them henceforth. But somehow, in this entire phase, we have come out stronger. We have understood that even though the world is a cruel place, even though we are left on our own, even though we have someone who helps us, we have to cherish ourselves. And I believe a lot of people have been able to cherish themselves via different mediums, via channeling their true selves in different ways. And one of it has been art. And with a bittersweet heart, I would like to invite today's guest, Miss Vidhi Singhal, who has been able to channelize her true self via art, via paintings, via small, cute little badges, via pinups, and she has initiated a small business in the memory of her late kitten, Waffle, which lends her business the name Vid&Waf. So I believe it will be better if Miss Vidhi introduces and tells us more about her business and how she has been able to help people understand who they truly are via her art. Please, Miss Vidhi, you may take it forward.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. I mean, I'm really delighted to be here. Um, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Vidhi and I'm a 20-year-old final management student. I had a kitten. I mean, I really love animals. Ever since I was a child, I was crazy about animals. I remember as a child, my dad used to take me out for walks in the morning, and the two of us, we were this power couple and this power duo who used to feed all the animals in our locality. So I think this particular compassion and love for animals, it has been inculcated in me since the very beginning. So this one random evening, my kitten, who's Waffle by the way, his mom just dropped him in our balcony. I mean, we were quite shocked to see a kitten just sleeping around in our balcony. And let me tell you, my mom hates animals. She is not the one for pets. She definitely hates them, but Waffle had this enigmatic aura and this thing about himself. We immediately fell in love with him. So it was 13th of August 2020. And so we immediately decided to take him in. We adopted him. We kept him in. He was a very, very dumb cat. I am
Is
sorry,
it?
but yes,
Cats are like that. Cats are like that.
I swear he actually tore our sofa. Can you believe?
Wow.
He tore our sofa. He scratched me so much. I still have scars.
The reason why I got a new chair is because my cat destroyed my old chair. That's it.
I cherish those scars now that he's not here with me anymore. I really cherish those scars, and it was as if my maternal instinct just came out. I gave him baths, I fed him, I took him to the vet, I changed his clothes, and you know what? On Diwali last year, I bought him a t shirt and he tore
Oh,
it.
wow. That's expected, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is. So even my dad is like very attached to animals. The two of us in the evenings we go to the terrace, we feed birds. Then in the evening we feed the local stray dogs, and
Yeah, I
obviously by
and I'm aware that you have made friends with the crows in your area because you feed them
yes,
by your hand. Yeah.
yes, I did. You know, and it's not just crows. There are parrots as well, and
Oh wow,
pigeons too.
that's
Yeah.
nice. So Vidhi, how did this entire arc of having a kitten, taking care of her, and
Him.
uh okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm taking care of him, and then somehow what happened that led to the creation of Vid and
So the thing is, actually, I'd gone to Bombay for some work, And on 8th of December 2020, Waffle passed away suddenly. It was a very gruesome death. We weren't really prepared for it. I mean, never in our wildest dreams did we think something so tragic would happen. That one fine day, in a blink, Waffle would just pass away. And the worst part is we couldn't even bid him goodbye. We couldn't even give him a proper cremation because of everything that happened.
Right.
And his death introduced me to a new concept. His death introduced me to a completely new feeling, grief. I wasn't used to grief. I mean,
Okay.
I had never experienced grief, especially the death of a loved one, the loss of a loved one, to realize that he just won't be there anymore. And I was in an extremely terrible place mentally because obviously since it passed away and I couldn't meet him one last time. And the guilt and the regret of not being able to see him before he passed away. So I was in a very dark place. I was very depressed. I was very anxious. I started painting. I wouldn't call myself a painter per se, but I used art as a medium to express myself and to deal with everything that was going on. And one fine day, I was just outside and I was just chilling with my friends, and I showed my very first painting on a canvas to him, and he was like, "Vidhi, why don't you sell them? I mean, I would be more than happy to buy your art. I would be more than happy to support a local artist." And I was like, honestly, until now, I hadn't thought of commercializing my art or just putting it out in the market. That planted the idea of Vid&Waf in my mind. I was like, when you're good at something, why not make some good use of it? I mean, why not turn your pain into power? So
Right.
this is
That's
how
powerful.
Vid&Waf. Yeah, it is. That is how I came up with Vid&Waf, and then I proposed this idea to one of my friends who works at Cause for a Cause. She was like, "If you want to donate, why don't you formally collaborate with us?" I was like, "I do want to do
Oh,
something. I want to do it for the
yes.
greater good." A part of my earnings are used for those who cannot speak, for something that is connected to my childhood. So that happened, and then I was like, why not do something for them who helped me build a childhood, who helped me
Right.
develop empathy and all of the compassion and kindness inside of me. This
Right.
is how I came up with Vid&Waf, and I collaborated with Cause for a Cause. Cause for a Cause is a student-led animal organization which operates within Delhi and NCR. They take care of
Right.
adoption, trains, rescues, strays, and everything related to it. And we donate 30% of every sales proceed for their rescues.
That's amazing, Vidhi. Vidhi, I am aware that, when the last time we had spoken, you were telling me that a underlying cause about, the underlying theme of starting Vid and Work was also that you wanted to spread mental awareness because you have felt it, you have been through it. And how have you exactly, integrated art and mental awareness and mental issues and mental health in general?
So I have been very particular about mental health since the very beginning. And if you see on my Instagram as well, I keep on sharing stuff in order to spread awareness about it. And mental health is a topic which is very close to my heart, considering someone who's been depressed since I was 17, and someone who's like constantly anxious and has experienced an extremely bleak and dark time. I really wanted to make sure that people understood the importance of art and people understood the importance of mental health. Art as a medium, it can be used to express yourself. It can be used to reflect yourself. I mean, when you're doing art, when you're painting something, when you're writing something, when you're creating music, or when you're sketching, or whatever it is that is art to you, because art is subjective, then you're doing
Right.
it, you're not just reflecting your emotions, but you're reflecting yourself as a whole. You're reflecting everything that is going on in your mind. You're
Right.
reflecting everything which you cannot convey through words. You're reflecting everything which is inexplicable. So, because since I began uh, painting for myself, since I began painting as a means of therapy, since I began using art as a therapy, I wanted to educate people. Mainly, I wanted to educate people with respect to how art is a savior.
Right.
It saves me every day. It saves you every day. It saves everyone every day. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, it does not necessarily have to be just painting or sketching or writing. It can be any form
True.
because it depends upon person to person.
Yes, that's something that we can always cherish. So there is a
Yeah.
saying that that I'm reminded of right now in Marathi, which goes like "Vyakti titkya prakruti," which basically is the number of people there are, the different natures, the different flaws, the different things that will irritate you, and not be like abnormalities, is what I mean to say, via like is what the quote means to highlight, that how many number of people there are going to be equally different and abundance of flaws and things that you can consider as abnormalities.
This reminds me of this YouTube comment I read like a couple of weeks ago. It said art is supposed to comfort the discomfort and discomfort the comfort.
Oh boy, that's
Really touching,
it's
honestly, if you
something
ask me.
to yeah.
I think this is what artists like Vincent and authors like Charles Bukowski and Virginia Woolf, they took it into consideration. Because if you take a look at their art and take a look at everything they've created, it does
Hmm.
discomfort. I mean, if you read about Virginia Woolf or if you read Bell
Yeah.
Jar, I don't know if you've read it or not. Virginia Woolf, she was so depressed and she was so suicidal, she killed herself. If you read her poetry, if you read her work, you know that you'd realize that it does actually create a sense of discomfort inside of you, because when you look at their work, when you look at Vincent's painting, you can sense, you can see how 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 badly he was suffering, you know.
Yeah.
He was suffering from melancholia, he was in a mental asylum, he
Hmm.
did seem better, you know, but obviously you couldn't figure out what was going on with him. He again used art to express himself. He painted over 800 paintings. He's painted, I think, more than 1,000 paintings. I'm not
Right.
really sure of the number and statistics, but
That's all right. I understand where it's coming from.
yeah.
And as you mentioned, Charles Bukowski. So I have read Charles Bukowski's work throughout my teenage. The series that he created,
Oh
a
my
book
god,
is
I have
called
some.
Ham on the Rag. It is a book that is a fictional autobiography sort of a thing. And the way he described all the things that he went through and all the experiences that scarred him, but he did nothing about it, which was the most raw. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's the most raw art and representation of life as we could have ever imagined. Because, a lot of times what happens is art forms such as movies or stories or novels try to capture the essence of life in a positive way. That even if something bad is happening, something good is coming out of it. It is always balanced. And I believe sometimes people are not fortunate enough to even experience the balance of good and the bad. Their lives are always filled with either of the emotions, for good and the bad. But yeah, at the end of the day, I guess what matters is achieving it, or capitalizing and capturing the pure essence of it.
You know, this reminds me of how Charles Bukowski, he was an alcoholic, and how his works weren't famous when he was
Yeah,
alive, and he started getting popularity after he passed away.
yeah.
I mean, I think that just saddens me, and it just hurts me, it just pains me to think that artists aren't valued when they're alive. I think the same thing happened with
Sim-
Vincent. Look
yes,
at how
Winston Van
popular
Gogh.
and appreciated and how valued he is right now. I mean, if he
Yes.
were alive, I mean, I mean, the guy really did make a difference, to be very honest.
True. And I believe part of the reason why he could make a difference was because how people received his art. Not always. So there is this movie, Back to the Future, where the protagonist goes in the past and plays a kind of art form that did not exist back then. And he just made a joke that you are not ready, but your grandsons and grandchildren are going to love this. It
Oh
was a
my god.
joke, all right, it was a joke. And some way or the other, it really tells us how art is perceived and received around the world. Because it does not mean when an art form is someone is creating something and not everybody is liking it, it does not mean that okay, this person is not good at it. It's just that everybody has a different way of looking at it.
Definitely. You know, as I mentioned earlier, uh, your art is a reflection of you. And like when you create, even when you're creating art for someone, you're not just reflecting themselves, but also yourself. Like
Correct.
when I paint for my customers, or when I take up any customized order, I always keep my customers in mind. I always make sure that I am adding my essence to it. Even though
Right.
that's something they want me to paint, but I always ensure that my essence is somewhere present in my art. That, when they look at it, it makes them feel something.
Right, because I think I like to add one thing rather, that when I commissioned an artwork for my cat by you, you added your essence very neatly. So what Vidhi did here, guys, was she painted my cat, all right, but she also added a smoothie in her hand, in the cat's hand that she's drinking. Now that's something that's not what Cairo does. That's not something what I have ever done, but that's completely Vidhi's essence. And I was really surprised because I was not expecting that, but it really looks really cool. Now I'll show it to you guys soon. It's up there. I'll have to move the camera. I'll show it to you after the recording is done.
That's completely okay. Which this reminds me of this quote from this book, Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. It's one of my favorite books.
Okay.
The quote goes like, "She never looked nice. She looked like art, and art isn't supposed to look nice. It's supposed to make you feel something."
Yes, I haven't read the book, but I have surely come across the quote. Yes.
Yeah, you might have come across it on my Instagram as well, because I keep on posting it everywhere. Like, I get an opportunity, I'm just gonna slam this quote on like the person's face. I'm like, dude, listen to
Uh,
this. Like, keep this in mind. Art is never supposed to look nice. So the next time you comment on anybody's art saying, "Oh my god, I don't really like this art," I mean, what has he or she painted? Remember this. It's not supposed to look nice. It's supposed to make you feel something. And even if it is making you feel all these emotions, even though these emotions are negative and full of hatred, but remember that it is making you feel something, even though hatred or whatever it is.
while we are at the topic of, people not appreciating art for looking or anything that is not in their, not coming out matching up to their expectations, there are also some kind of people who do not value art at all. And I believe you have a very good instance to talk about it, because you had mentioned it to me earlier.
Yeah. So this person once told me that, Vidhi, you look for art and poetry everywhere. You try to link art and poetry with everything it is that you do. And this is not how real world functions. You need to step into the real world and realize that art and poetry is like not everywhere. And I think about it a lot, because how bleak and dull your world has to be to not have art and poetry in it. I mean, just think about it, like how bleak it is, how dark it is, and how dull it is. I mean, there must be something wrong with you in order to not find art everywhere. I mean, look around you. Everything is art. You are art. I am art. Everyone is art. Everything is art. I mean, how can you say that the real world does not have art? It clearly means there is something wrong with your world, to be very honest. And the thing is, you do not even have to look that hard. You don't even have to like scan your environment and put all of your focus into one thing in order to look for it. You just need to have the right eyes. You just need to appreciate everything it is that is around you. As I mentioned earlier, everything actually is art. And it's as if people associate art with something which is extremely valuable. Like,
Mhm.
art means either I'm painting or I'm sketching or I'm writing something or I'm shooting something or I'm doing photography or cinematography. No, that's a big no.
Mhm.
Anything and everything is art. Anything and everything that helps you embrace your inner child, anything and everything that helps you maintain your sanity, anything and everything that helps you stay grounded is art.
I believe art originates from gratefulness. It orig
200% agree.
Yeah. So you have to be grateful for something that, helps you see what and how something is artistic. Because when we are talking about seeing art in other things, it definitely has to be gratefulness. But when we are talking about creating art within us, we have to be grateful that we created some kind of art. after creating it. It's either the action is creating that gratefulness, or the gratefulness is creating that action. Some way or the other, there has to be gratefulness. Otherwise, we are nowhere going to, So the friend or the person who said that to you, I believe they are lacking gratefulness, and that's something that they can easily gain.
It's all about appreciation. It's all about appreciating everything that you have and everything that is around you. It's all about embracing yourself and embracing that has been given to you. And
Right.
I think about these grave statements a lot. I mean, Vidhi is art, Vidhi is poetry.
Ah, that's cute.
Yeah, and which reminds me of this mission
Mm-hmm.
Vid&Waf lives by. It's to make
Yes.
sure that everyone embraces their inner child. I believe there's a child in each one of us, and some of us we try to suppress that child because we're in this constant journey, or we're in this constant league to outperform ourselves and to live by the rules of society and to make sure that everything goes right. Somewhere down the line we forget to live a little. Somewhere down the line we forget to enjoy the things that make us happy, be it buying a balloon for yourself, be it playing
Yeah.
with a balloon. I'm very fond of balloons. I love balloons, honestly. Every year on my birthday my mom gets me the same number of balloons as my age.
Wow.
So I'm going to be turning 21 this year, so you can imagine.
Wow. The house is going to be painted red and white.
Yeah, definitely. I'll send you pictures.
Yes.
So that's the main mission that's one of the main missions of Vid&Waf, which is to make sure that me and everyone
Right.
around me and everyone that I'm serving and helping with embraces their inner child. I mean, when I paint something and when I ship out an order, I always hope that my customer gets the message, and my customers, they always remember to embrace their inner child. I mean, that's my intention for everyone, be it my customers, be it my friends, be it my family, be it for myself as well. I'm very big on inner child and doing those little things that make you happy.
I
It's
could
Vid&Waf.
completely.
This is another vision which Vid&Waf stands by. Embrace
Yeah.
your inner child.
Uh-huh. Like, knowing you personally for so many years, I can completely testify that you don't have to cherish your inner child. You are a child, even outside.
100% I agree. I mean, I think my
Yes.
logo says that. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Vidhi, I believe in a way what you are trying to convey is that art is a therapy in itself, right?
Yes, definitely art is a therapy. All the famous artists, all the famous writers, all the famous musicians, each and every one of them, they've used art as a therapy. It's actually proven that neurotic people, they tend to be a lot more creative and they can come up with myriad of solutions which differ from those solutions brought up by any other person. It might
Right.
seem like they're extremely depressed and it might seem like they are unable to do something, but they
Mm-hmm.
actually end up surprising everyone. They actually end up surprising the world by way of their art. When you're
I can.
depressed, let's consider a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's consider the person next. The person's depressed with no psychological help or therapy or whatsoever. And the person is resorted to art, and the person's using art as a way of expression, the person's using art as a therapy.
Mm-hmm.
He or she will try to convey his or her message via his art. He'll try to make sure that his pain, his suffering, his deteriorating mental health, his detrimental conditions, each and everything is portrayed in his or her art. Think about it. Look at Vincent's art. Look at Starry Night. Look
Yeah.
at it. His art, it's an epitome of mental disorder, to be very honest. It screams instability, it screams discomfort, but at the same time, it does comfort you. Looking at it just makes me so happy that in spite of being so ill, in spite of being in such a terrible condition, he created art. He created such pretty art. He
Right.
created beauty. He looked for beauty everywhere.
I believe what you're saying does make sense in a way, because it not only helped them but also helped others who saw it. Like, just how you said it, that it comforted you to look at it.
Yes, it helps me, it helps you. Talking about it helps me a lot. Reading about it helps me a lot. Reading about it comforts me. It gives me pleasure. It's my solace. Art is my solace. Art is my savior. It helped me. It saved me. It helped me get out of a very difficult time. It helped me deal with the loss of my kitten. It helped me come up with something as beautiful as Vid&Waf.
Right. It completely makes sense. And I wish you all the very best with this initiative. And I hope that you are able to reach out a lot more people coming in the coming months and in the coming weeks. And
Thank you.
at the end of the day, it's all about, trying to make the world a better place in our own way. And I'm happy to see you do that.
Thank you so much. Yesterday we reached 3,000 donations. I mean, we donated in total
That's
rupees 3,000
amazing.
by way of our small art initiative, and we touched 73 orders. It was Waffle's
Wow.
6 months anniversary, so that happened.
Oh, that's really nice. It's crazy, just as well. And Vidhi, yeah, for our listeners who would somehow want to reach out to you for collaborations, could you tell them how that can be made done possible?
We recently collaborated with 180 Degree. It's a consulting cell operated by students of Guru Gobind Singh College of Commerce, which comes in Delhi University.
Okay.
They had further collaborated with Mission Oxygen. So 1 week's worth of sales proceed we donated to Mission Oxygen to take care of cylinders, oxygen cylinders, and for COVID relief. And we are open to collaborations. If you have a cause, if you have something which you think needs to be addressed, if you have something which you think can make this world a better place, which can make a difference, which can serve for the greater good, then we are here for you. We are here to help you in any way possible.
That's really, really amazing and inspiring to me as well.
As a child, I had possessed this intense desire to work for greater good, to make sure that even though I'm a speck of dust in this universe, but I wanted to make sure that I'm contributing and that I'm making a difference. And by God's grace, I have been successful in doing so far, and I hope I am able to do that in the future as well.
Only best wishes your way onwards and upwards,
Thank
Vidhi.
you.
Thank you so much for your time today. And at the end, I hope you have a good evening today. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
visitor.
much for having me. And in case anybody wishes to reach out to me, my Instagram handle is @vid&waf.
I'll surely link to all of those in the description.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
To all our listeners, please make sure you're following the Honest Favorite on Instagram, and please make sure you're hitting that bell icon and the subscribe button. And please let us know in the comment section how you found this podcast, and please follow us on Instagram as well.